She was the supreme mother of all dragons, ruler of countless dragonkind. Yet she disguised herself as a fragile little girl about to be violated by bandits, all to lure this innocent young demon king into saving her. But no matter how pitifully she cried, he remained unmoved, because he knew that once she dragged him into that cave, she would ruin him. Originally, he was merely the 666th demon king of this continent, and everyone knew how that story always ended. Demon kings were destined to fall to heroes. So he made a firm decision. He would no longer be a demon king. Instead, 20 years before the hero's birth, he would conquer humanity's strongest empire and crown himself king. With lofty ambitions, he stepped into the human world, only to be mistaken for a country bumpkin by patrolling soldiers. As he wondered whether they were talking about him, spears were already pointed straight at his chest. After a brief pause, he smiled and calmly introduced himself as Deus. At once, a burly knight stepped forward and shouted, "Arrogant brat, how dare you use the name of an ancient god? Do you have any idea this is the capital of the kingdom of Vilt?" Deus tilted his head in confusion. Is the kingdom of Vilt really that impressive? Would it let me be king? The knight, stunned by such blasphemy, drew his weapon and aimed it at Deus's head. A cold glint flashed through Deus's eyes. In the next instant, the knight's head exploded. The remaining soldiers froze in shock. Then, one after another, their heads burst apart as well. Before anyone could resist, they all collapsed at Deus's feet. He hung the soldiers' corpses upside down. His voice thundered across the capital. "Humans, welcome your new king." A terrifying aura blanketed the royal city, forcing the survivors to retreat toward the palace gates. But the moment they caught sight of Deus, terror seized them all. He looked like a demon returned straight from hell. Everywhere he passed, bodies piled high. In mere moments, only a single holy knight remained, barely holding on. Deus regarded him with interest. The knight chanted, "O creator god of this world, grant me the power to destroy darkness." A sacred light descended upon him. Raising his holy sword, he unleashed his strongest strike at Deus. A massive surge of energy swept through the castle. Yet the next second, fear spread across the knight's face. With nothing more than a gentle squeeze, Deus stopped the attack cold. "Don't talk about gods in front of me." In an instant, he appeared behind the knight. At the same time, a still beating heart was clenched tightly in his hand. The holy knight fell at his feet, consumed by terror. Then Deus walked into the final hall. The remaining knights shielded their king with their bodies. Seated on the throne, the king stared at him darkly. "Who are you? You want to rule this kingdom? Then let's talk." Before Deus could answer, a soldier foolishly interrupted. "How dare you speak the king's name so casually?" Deus simply snapped his fingers. The insignificant rabble dropped dead on the spot. "Why you?" The knight wet himself on the spot. Deus leapt into the air, a pair of pitch-black wings unfurling behind him. In the next instant, he stood before the king. "Now," he said calmly, "can we finally talk?" The king cried out in panic, "Whatever you want. I'll give it to you." Deus casually demanded that the kingdom be handed over to him. The king snapped, screaming hysterically, "Anything but that." Deus scratched his ear, utterly indifferent. "If that's the case, I'll kill you. After I marry into your family, the kingdom will still end up mine." The king's face twisted in rage. "I get it. You're after my daughter." "Absolutely not. She's the royal flower of the wholesome continent." Deus showed no interest at all. He hadn't even known the man had a daughter. "I don't want your daughter. I want the throne." The king grew even angrier. "Why take something that doesn't belong to you?" Deus replied coldly. "And does it truly belong to you?" The king tried to argue. "The kingdom belongs to the royal family." Deus cut him off without mercy. "Didn't you seize it from someone else? You've enjoyed this seat for decades. Now I'm taking it." The king roared, "If you do this, the imperial court will never forgive you." Deus laughed with contempt. "The imperial court? Who cares?" As he spoke, a terrifying surge of power erupted from Deus, sweeping through the entire palace. Everything around them was reduced to ruins. Staring at the king's charred corpse, Deus felt no trace of pure blood aura and a hint of disappointment. He gazed blankly at the sky. So this is the power of humanity? They weren't ready at all. On second thought, that was only natural. He had awakened 20 years early. The hero had yet to be born. On this continent, the war between demon kings and humanity had raged for 66,580 years. Every time, it ended in the demon king's defeat. Yet every 100 years, a new demon king would rise. And without fail, a hero would appear and strike the demon king down. As the 666th demon king, Deus learned from his predecessor's failures. He awakened 20 years early to put an end to it all, to show the world exactly how it would be destroyed. Just then, a graceful figure rushed into the hall. Tears filled her eyes as she stared at him in grief. "Who are you? What did you do to my father?" Deus paused, then remembered. She was the king's daughter, April. "The king is dead," he said calmly. "I'll marry you and inherit the throne." Hearing that her father had died, April stared at him in disbelief. Before she could speak, Deus snapped his fingers lightly. Her expression went blank. She dropped to her knees. "This lowly body belongs to you. Please accept me, master." Deus stepped in front of her and gently lifted her chin. "From now on, you'll be my first human." Then his voice turned cold. "Stop hiding. Come out now, before I rip your eyes out." Space trembled, and a figure slowly emerged from a leophone. "As expected of you, my lord, your loyal servant, Ares, greets his sovereign." Deus showed no surprise. "Weren't you serving my father? Why follow me here?" Ares bowed respectfully. "Your body was personally bestowed by the former demon king. From this moment on, you are my only master." Deus waved him off. "I'm not going back to the demon realm." To his surprise, Ares smiled and agreed without hesitation, telling him to do as he pleased. That response only made Deus more suspicious. Ares gestured toward the human princess. "My lord, weren't you planning to plant your seed in this woman?" Then his tone shifted. "For 80 years, I raised you with my own hands. My training was harsh, nearly beat you to death, but before you entered the awakening egg, I was the only demon who truly loved you. Hard to believe the little one who could barely walk back then is now interested in women." Seeing Ares grow so sentimental made Deus want to swallow him whole. He repeated himself firmly. "I'm done being a demon king. I want to live as a normal human." Ares didn't get angry. Instead, he smiled warmly. "Then do whatever you want." Those words only deepened Deus's suspicion. With a sigh, Ares asked, "Was there a special reason you attacked this kingdom? Did they invade your lands or covet demon treasures?" Deus shrugged. "I didn't think that far. I just figured being a human king sounded nice." To his surprise, Ares was ecstatic. "As expected of our demon king, you came to the human world, seized the greatest kingdom, killed its king, planned to marry the princess, and even intended to live as an ordinary man. Even someone of my rank wouldn't dare imagine such a plan. That foresight proves you're a born demon king. But don't worry, even if you abandon us, I'll take your son back to the demon realm and raise him as the next demon king. In 20 years, he'll replace you as the 667th demon king and descend upon the world." Hearing this, Deus was left speechless. He glanced at the human princess beside him, deeply relieved that he had narrowly escaped disaster. Deus realized with lingering shock that he was only 80, barely in the prime of life, and had almost become a father. Then his expression suddenly changed. A massive beam of light blasted from his mouth toward Ares. The terrifying force reduced mountain ranges within 100 miles to ash. He wasn't trying to kill Ares, just vent his anger. He had nearly fallen into a human trap. Next time, he wanted a warning earlier. Ares froze in place. That single strike proved this demon king was nothing like the ones before. Maybe this time, they could actually win. Still, Ares cautioned that becoming a king was far too conspicuous. Deus shrugged. Then he'd be a righteous guardian, a hero's companion. No one would ever suspect that the hero's partner was the demon king himself. Let the foolish hero charge ahead while he stayed behind, quietly reaping the rewards. The thought made Deus burst out laughing at his own brilliance. Ares nearly collapsed, warning him to stay sane. Without a demon king, there would be no hero to partner with. Deus ignored him, leapt forward, and told Ares they were going to find the hero. All the while, everything around them was being watched by a mysterious presence. The 666th Demon King seems defective. Lowly origins and questionable intelligence, the voice murmured. My chance has come. That presence was the supreme mother of all dragons. Soon after, Deus relaxed in a carriage, enjoying the scenery. Ares wondered why they didn't just fly instead of crawling along by carriage. Deus snapped back that flying would only advertise them as demons. Ares pointed at the ruined castle and retorted that everyone already knew. Deus pretended not to hear. Ares again asked why his lord wouldn't become a hero himself. Deus explained that companions didn't need bloodlines. Find a fool to lead the charge and count money from behind. Heroes in this world were ranked. At the top were S-rank heroes, dragon slayers. Next came A-rank giant slayers, then B-rank water demon slayers. Rankings were handled by the Holy Imperial Hero Administration. There were also F-rank heroes, the lowest of the low, unsupported by nobles and unloved by the people, as disposable as rotten vegetables. Yet bloodline mattered more than rank. 66,580 years ago, the first savior, hero, and saintess slew the first demon king. Their descendants spread across the world. The purer the bloodline within great families, the stronger their spiritual power. Every century, the purest-blooded hero would rise to face the demon king. None of this interested Deus. That endless war was why he'd been trapped in an egg for 80 years. Now he just wanted to hide behind the hero and live as a wealthy man. A butterfly fluttered over his head. A gentle breeze tousled his hair. Warm sunlight washed over him, filling him with ease. Everything in the human world seemed beautiful. He was supposed to stay in the egg 20 more years and die to a hero upon setting foot here. But he'd escaped, and perhaps that was the wiser path. The Demon King profession was overdue for extinction. Deus lounged in Ares' carriage, savoring the view. Ares was still trying to persuade him to return to the demon realm. Deus was about to refuse outright. Then a cry for help rang out, drawing both their gazes. A seemingly fragile woman was being chased by dozens of bandits. Spotting them, she pleaded desperately for help, claiming she was being hunted. Deus didn't move an inch. Ares asked why he wouldn't help a lady in distress. Deus countered that it was suspicious. How had they appeared so suddenly on an open plain? And could dozens of men really fail to catch one woman? He had Ares skeptically. This isn't your setup, is it? A staged rescue, marriage, and 2 heirs for the demon realm? Ares shook his head vehemently. He'd never suggest something so idiotic. By then, the woman had rushed to the carriage, sobbing for help. When Deus hesitated, she cried harder, claiming bandits had killed her family and meant to violate her. Deus declined calmly. He only hunted dragons. Dealing with bandits wasn't worth his time. The moment Deus finished speaking, he heard the woman mutter under her breath, "What an idiot. Why is he so much trouble?" Deus immediately perked up and pointed at her. "Hey, did you just insult me?" "I heard that." Just as he was about to teach her a lesson, a sickle came flying through the air and slammed into his carriage. It was the bandits. Their leader shouted, "Pretty boy, get lost if you don't want to die." Deus felt a sharp pang in his chest. His precious carriage had been damaged by these bastards. The next second, purple flames erupted over the bandit leader's body. His men rushed in to help, only to find the fire couldn't be extinguished and only burned hotter. Deus said calmly, "That's nether fire. It burns until you die. Anyone else want to try?" The bandits scattered in terror. The woman looked speechless. They ran pretty fast. Then she moved closer again. "The bandits have taken over our temple. The priestesses were enslaved, and the sacred relic was stolen. Please help us." Deus had no intention of believing such an obvious lie, but her next sentence made him freeze. "The temple is dedicated to the god of all dragons. If you drive the bandits away, we'll give you the sacred relic the golden dragon helm. Led by the woman, Deus rode Ares up the mountain. Ares complained, "We could fly. Why aren't we flying?" "Idiot," Deus snapped. "Do you want people to recognize me as a demon king? Then why don't you walk yourself?" Ares shot back. "That a matter of demon king dignity," Deus replied seriously. "A demon king doesn't walk." The woman kept running along the steep mountain path for half an hour without slowing, steadily pulling away from them. That was highly suspicious. No ordinary woman could do that. Deus didn't care. Who she is doesn't matter. If she's lying, I'll skin her and make clothes out of it. Along the way, he asked Ares, "Do dragons worship gods?" Ares shook his head. "No, a dragon god is just a title, the strongest among dragons. Same as a demon king." Deus already had his answer and began calculating their odds. After Ares was completely exhausted, they finally reached the summit. There were no bandits, only a solitary temple. Deus pushed the door open and walked inside with Ares. "Where are the bandits and the golden dragon helm?" He called out. "Hand it over while I'm still being polite." Ares sensed danger and warned him, but it was too late. The doors slammed shut. Crushing pressure descended as the woman appeared, no longer pretending to be weak. Deus grinned. "So you're the bandit who took the temple? Where's my helm?" She sneered. "You still don't understand your situation? Kneel before the mother of all dragons, the one and only supreme god of dragonkind." Ares turned pale. If she truly was the dragon god, this was her absolute domain. Deus muttered, "Mother of all dragons, the sole god of dragons." Satisfied with their reactions, she said, "If you're afraid, kneel and beg. I might spare you on one condition." Before she finished, Deus started discussing it with Ares. "Mother of all dragons, sole god, pretty badass title. Maybe I should introduce myself like that too. The shadow that watches all darkness, the male leader of gloom, king of demons. What do you think?" The woman trembled with rage. "You too. How dare you ignore me?" In an instant, she flashed to Deus's side. Flames sealed the area. This is the golden domain of dragons. Even a demon king has no chance here. Kneel before me now. Deus, the 666th demon king. Submission is your only choice." Deus replied flatly, freezing her expression. "If you're really a dragon, I can peel your skin and make clothes out of it." The dragon god exploded in fury, but Deus gently pressed a finger against her lips. "Apologize," he said coldly. "You deceived me. I came to the human world to live quietly, as a hero's partner. You pretended to be a helpless girl and lured us here. Then you demanded we kneel. Just because you're a dragon god, you think you can do whatever you want?" Ares backed him up. "Exactly. Arrogance born from power is still arrogance." Deus calmly pointed out that the dragons were the ones who violated the peace treaty first, so the apology should come from her. Hearing their reasoning, the dragon god hesitated. Why does this actually make sense? Could I really be wrong? But arrogance was second nature to her, and she had never bowed her head to anyone. Seeing her hesitate, Deus pretended to leave with Ares. Flustered, the dragon god quickly called out, "You're leaving already? Won't you at least hear me out?" Deus insisted. "Apologize first. If not, forget it. Your apology won't make me any money anyway." He turned as if to walk away again. After a few steps, a weak voice came from behind. "I'm sorry." Deus's expression flipped instantly, and he scampered back to her with a grin. He gently patted her proud dragon head. "Not super satisfying, but since you apologized, I'll generously accept it." The dragon god felt something was off, but couldn't put her finger on it. In the end, she could only let him take control of the situation. "All right," Deus said. "What do you actually want from me?" Her expression turned serious. "I need you to hunt road dragons." Deus frowned. "Are you serious? You're the mother of all dragons, and you're asking me, the demon king, to deal with dragonkind? Do I look stupid? Keep talking nonsense, and I'll peel your scales myself." With a sigh, she explained. Although dragons and humans had signed a peace treaty, deep divisions had formed within dragon society. Dragons who had lost their children to humans formed a radical faction. They used a strange, unknown magic to infect dragons who wanted to live peacefully. Through these control dragons, they attacked human villages, trying to reignite war between humans and dragons. I can't let innocent children be turned into tools of war. Deus finally understood. So you wanted to stop the control dragons. Fine, but what do I get? His eyes gleamed with pure merchant greed. Seeing hope, the dragon god asked, "What do you want?" Deus raised 5 fingers. 5 dragon scales per capture, plus 1 weapon and 1 armor set forged from dragon breath. She frowned. That gear is worth 1,000 gold per set. What if you trick me? Deus snapped his fingers without hesitation. A demonic contract appeared. He would handle the road dragons, and she would pay in scales and equipment. If she broke it, she would become his slave. It was a soul-binding demon contract, activated simply by speaking one's true name. The dragon god signed without further hesitation. She didn't notice the meaningful smile that crept onto Deus's lips as she spoke her name. "Deal's done," Deus said. "I'll take care of it in the next few days." He turned and walked out of the space. Then her voice rang out again. "Demon King, capture them alive. No more dragon deaths." Moments later, Deus stepped out of the dragon realm, confident everything was under control. Suddenly, something occurred to him. He spun around and ran back in panic. But when he entered again, the space was completely empty. Ares frowned. "What's wrong?" "That was her domain. We can't just go back in." Deus exploded, his voice echoing through the valley. "Damn it, I got scammed again. She never gave me the real golden dragon helm." Soon after, they arrived at the border village of Jorix. Nearby towns had recently been attacked by dragons, and rumors were spreading like wildfire. Fear of dragon raids hung over the entire village. Ares led Deus to the best inn in town. The innkeeper sneered the moment they entered. "Where'd you crawl out from? You think peasants like you deserve the top luxury suite?" That changed the instant Ares produced treasures looted from the royal capital. The innkeeper turned pale and hurriedly summoned staff to serve them. Just then, a human boy came running over, stumbling as he went. Deus sensed a faint trace of bloodline power within him. The boy looked frail, but he clearly belonged to a fallen hero family. By classification, he was an F-rank reject, exactly the kind Deus was looking for. Suddenly, an explosion echoed as a dragon attacked the village. The boy ignored his own safety and urged Deus to hide. Deus remained still, staring at him. "Let me help you become a hero. Accept my offer, and you'll gain unimaginable wealth and fame. Your reject label will vanish. Refuse, and you'll lose your only chance." An F rank never truly gets to wield a sword. Faced with Deus's overwhelming pressure, the boy wavered. He didn't want a meaningless life. "Please help me become a hero. I'll do anything, if necessary, even offer my soul." The boy's resolve pleased Deus. He immediately summoned a demonic contract. The boy must obey all orders. Any wealth or honor gained could only be shared with permission, no objections allowed. Staring at the blatantly unfair terms, the boy hesitated. But when he saw the words wealth and honor, he shouted his name without hesitation. "Jack! Perfect!" Deus smiled and pointed at the dragon. "Then let's start by capturing that thing." Ares warned him, "A normal human can't capture a dragon." Deus thought fast. "Then you handle the capture. Once you're done negotiating, toss it in front of Jack. He just needs to swing a weapon a few times. Everyone will believe he's the hero who defeated the dragon." Ares frowned, "But everyone knows Jack is F rank. You'll be suspected." Deus grinned at Jack. "Then let's give him a makeover." He ripped open Jack's clothes and dropped a metal pod over his head. Thus, Hot Helmet Hero was born. Even so, Jack lacked confidence. Deus locked eyes with him. "Imagine this. What you're holding is the key to wealth and glory. Defeat the dragon, and success is yours." Jack's heart surged with excitement, as if he truly possessed crushing power. Perhaps this was his hero blood awakening. Deus smirked. "Go, Pikachu." Jack ran toward the dragon like an obedient pup. Meanwhile, Ares stood atop the church tower. With one motion, he cast off his cloak. Countless arms manifested from his body. He leapt and appeared behind the dragon. One grab. His arms pierced straight into its body. In an instant, the dragon's heart was ensnared. Then grotesque, slimy creatures poured out. This had to be the strange magic the dragon god mentioned. The creatures controlled the dragon completely, but not enough to stop the Demon King's right hand. Arms wrapped tightly around the dragon's whiskers. Another reached straight for its heart. The dragon lost all mobility and crashed toward the ground. The slimy creatures swarmed up Ares' arms toward his head. They were trying to take over his body. Ares engaged them head-on. Meanwhile, the dragon's body dropped closer and closer to the ground. Ares murmured an incantation. His arms transformed into blades, shredding the tendrils. At the same time, he grabbed the creatures clinging to his head. No matter how hard he pulled, the disgusting parasite refused to come loose. Meanwhile, Jack had already taken his stance. As the dragon's massive body loomed closer, he remembered his father's words from childhood. No matter what others say, you are a sacred hero descendant of the Halabish family. I believe you'll become the one who slays the Demon King. Jack unleashed the strongest strike of his life. At the same time, a cold glint flashed through Deus's eyes. The dragon's body collapsed with a thunderous crash. And in that same instant, Ares completely purged the repulsive creatures. The village erupted in cheers. The hero defeated the dragon. A God-sent savior has saved us. Jack was nearly overwhelmed by the adoration. Deus quietly urged him to get out of sight. Jack scampered away at once. Ares stood atop the ruined church cross, strange runes creeping across half his face. It seemed they had returned. A being who could erase nations with a flick of his hand. Yet instead of plotting world destruction, he wondered whether demons and humans could have children. When Deus asked, Ares smiled with pride. My lord has finally grown up and taken an interest. Deus blushed and hurried to correct him. Ares only chuckled. Of course demons can have children with humans. Pregnancy happens almost instantly. Deus's eyes lit up. Then Ares launched into a full physiological lecture. Completely dumbfounded, Deus cut him off. As long as you're willing, any kind of contact could cause pregnancy. For example, intimate contact is a 99% chance. Kissing is 50%. Even holding hands isn't safe. Deus shuddered. This body was clearly engineered for reproduction. Those ancient monsters had definitely planned it. Changing the subject, Ares asked about Deus's next move. Deus answered confidently, I'm going to become a weapons merchant. Ares exploded. You abandoned the demon realm just to sell weapons. You idiot. You don't understand business at all. Humans are already using dragons as weapons. If we capture live dragons, we get free scales and gear. When war comes in 100 years, we'll make a fortune. Ares was so furious at this grand vision he nearly passed out in tears, begging Deus to wake up. Without a demon king, there would be no war at all. Deus wore a confident smile. Becoming a weapons merchant was only a way to fund his real plan. He had no intention of staying a businessman forever. Do you have any idea how terrifying a king is? He said calmly. When he watches all darkness and controls every weapon in the world. Ares lit up instantly. As expected, only you deserve to be called the greatest demon king. He immediately dragged Jack away, eager to scout locations for their shop. Once they were gone, Deus smirked. Ares was far too easy to fool. The real goal was obvious. Make money first, then become the greatest landlord in this fantasy world. With that thought, Deus lazily lay back on the bed. He had found a foolish hero and a way to print money. Soon, he could live a life of pure leisure. Yet a strange emptiness lingered. Would killing everyone in this village make me feel better? A voice whispered in his ear, kill them all. Destroy this world. Enslave humanity. Turn the human realm into hell. Only then can the endless cycle of death truly end. Deus replied flatly, shut up, I'm going to sleep. And he closed his eyes. By evening, Ares had found a decent building. Though damaged by the dragon attack, it only needed minor repairs to open for business. Learning that Jack had once been a carpenter, Deus was impressed. Handing the repairs to him meant the job would be done quickly. Still, Deus wondered, Would children born from an F-rank bloodline always be F-rank as well? Ares explained calmly that hero bloodlines were actually random. Even an F-rank lineage could produce a top-tier pure-blood hero. Power wasn't inherited, but wealth was. Families that produced legendary heroes or saints had wealth rivaling kings. With money, they could artificially boost hero rankings and bloodlines. So even if an F-rank family birthed a talented child, climbing the ranks was nearly impossible. That truth infuriated Deus. If hero ranks were decided by money, wouldn't that make the demon kind crushed by so-called fake heroes? No matter the world, money ruled everything. Speaking of which, where was their hero now? Jack had already opened a noodle shop by the roadside. Despite the village's devastation, the shop was packed. Seeing Deus arrive, Jack hurriedly served him a steaming bowl of ramen. Deus had never seen such food before. His mouth watered instantly. He devoured it in seconds. Even Ares was impressed by Jack's cooking. Then an angry voice rang out. "I told you not to eat in dumps like this. It's filthy." Jack apologized quickly, insisting there were no flies. The man responded by dumping the noodles all over Jack. He mocked him relentlessly. An F-rank loser, good for nothing. The sight disgusted Deus. Where did this buzzing fly come from? The man sneered. "Do you know who my father is? Call me a fly again, and I'll kill you." Deus raised one hand. Before either man could react, cold light flashed in his eyes. With a single grip, both bodies twisted grotesquely. Their souls were sucked straight into his palm. Anyone who disrespects the heroes fighting for them doesn't deserve to live. After dealing with the two men, Deus went right back to eating as if nothing had happened. Suddenly, a note drifted down into his bowl. It was a message from the dragon god. Dragons had appeared in Rya City. Deus's eyes lit up, and he slapped the table. A VIP client just placed an order. Time to make money. Move out. The dragon descended, and overnight the entire castle was turned into ice sculptures. The survivors shivered violently in the freezing wind, except for one man, shirtless, screaming that it was unbearably hot. Every mage was burning their life force to keep him warm. Wrapped in a glowing barrier, he cursed loudly, "Are you idiots trying to roast me alive?" Seeing this, Deus rolled straight over his head without hesitation. The people immediately believed a world-saving hero had arrived. But when they saw the boy standing at the front of the vehicle, disappointment filled their faces. Just a pervert wearing nothing but underwear. After receiving the message, Deus had rushed to Rya City without delay. Along the way, Jack trembled nonstop. He had never even seen a goblin, let alone a dragon. His body shook uncontrollably at the thought. Ares glanced at him and said calmly, "No matter how you feel, if the Lord recognizes you as a hero, then during an adventure, you are our leader. So pull yourself together." Though spoken softly, the words filled Jack with confidence. Upon arriving in Rya, the city was already under the Frost Dragon's control. The king refused to organize resistance, indulging himself while draining mages dry to keep warm. Deus showed little reaction, simply giving Ares a few instructions. He also ordered Jack to follow the same strategy as last time to defeat the dragon. Then he went back to sleep. Trusting that confidence, Ares promised not to fail this time. Drawing on past experience, Ares sliced open space itself. In a flash, he appeared above the dragon. He dove straight toward the parasitic sludge. With thunderous impacts, the massive dragon was smashed deep into the ground. Jack, half naked, curled up from the cold. But witnessing Ares' spectacular strike reignited his spirit, pushing warmth back into his frozen body. He rushed to find a spot where Ares could clearly see him. At that moment, Deus tossed him a wooden shield. With a casual gesture, he added a protective barrier. "Didn't you say this belonged to your father? Try not to die too easily." Deus then fell asleep again. Jack was so moved that tears streamed down his face. Shield in hand, he ran toward the center of the castle. Meanwhile, Ares and the Frost Dragon clashed head-on. The parasites were denser than before. Ares' arms became blades, slicing through them. Yet no matter how many he cut down, they kept coming. Sensing Ares' power, The parasite's eyes glowed red. The frost dragon unleashed a devastating breath of energy. Then it leapt skyward once more. In an instant, half of Ares' body was blown away, but it wasn't fatal. A massive black hand appeared out of nowhere. It clamped down on the dragon's fangs. Strange runes reappeared across Ares' missing half. 3 twisted arms grew out from his body. He drove a powerful kick straight into the dragon's head. With a horrific roar, the dragon was smashed back into the ground. That kind of size was a nightmare to deal with. Deus stepped toward the dragon, one step at a time. The parasitized beast let out agonized roars. Yet it could do nothing but remain under someone else's control. Ares roared, "Stop right there." His claw struck again, tearing into the parasite. The sight made Jack tremble with excitement. Compared to earlier fights, Ares' attacks were on a completely different level. Facing a dragon alone, was he an S-rank hero? Cheers erupted across the crowd. The gods had finally answered their prayers. They were going to survive. The king, however, was shaking uncontrollably. If the Holy Imperium learned what had happened here, his life would be over. The cheers reignited Jack's fighting spirit. He wanted to become a hero who truly brought hope to others. Just then, a faint cry for help reached his ears. Inside a frozen block of ice, a child was tightly shielded by someone's arms. "Please save me, hero." Meanwhile, the battle between Ares and the dragon was far from over. The controlled dragon whipped its massive tail, sending Ares flying. Although the parasite had been torn away, the dragon still hadn't regained its senses. Muttering incomprehensible draconic words, it lunged at Ares once more. As long as the host lived, the parasites would keep multiplying like some kind of undead dragon. Driven mad by the parasites, the frost dragon charged Ares without hesitation. Ares remained calm. He murmured under his breath, and countless black tentacles surged out behind him. Twisting together, they formed a gigantic black arm. With a single crushing punch, the dragon's massive body slammed into the ground again. Just as Ares moved to completely seize control of the dragon, a blast of freezing cold flame burst from its mouth. Ares barely managed to block it with his arm. Otherwise, his entire body would have been annihilated. That strike only enraged him further. His gaze hardened. The massive arm split into 3. One clamped down on the dragon's head, while the other 2 locked onto its wings. A shrill, agonized roar echoed out. The dragon's wings were ripped off by sheer force. Ares didn't stop there. The 3 arms pounded the dragon relentlessly, like a barrage of gunfire. Everyone present stood frozen in shock, convinced they were witnessing a legendary S-rank hero. At the same time, Jack struggled toward the frozen couple, seeing how they had shielded the child with their bodies. He tried smashing the ice with his broom, but nothing worked. On the battlefield, the dragon launched a final, desperate counterattack. A blast of frost breath swept across the ground. This time, it carried every ounce of the dragon's remaining power, engulfing everything nearby. Before Jack could react, he and the ice sculpture were blasted away, and the Demon King shield bestowed by Deus shattered instantly. He survived in the end, but the impact shattered his limbs into frozen fragments. Even so, he refused to give up. When a child's crying echoed from the snow, Jack dragged himself toward the sound. He might not be able to save everyone like other heroes, but he had to save this child. How long could his broken body last, though? Meanwhile, the battle between Ares and the dragon had reached its final stage. After taking the dragon's blow head-on, the skin Ares had maintained for 20 years was completely destroyed. Runes spread across his body, revealing his true demonic form. The dragon didn't stop. A blast of frost breath erupted again, sweeping the area with raw energy. Without the shield's protection this time, Jack truly felt death closing in. Yet in the final moment, he still shielded the child with his own body. That was when the figure finally appeared. Deus looked at the human in confusion. He couldn't understand why the demon race had lost over the past 66,500 years. Humans were as fragile as candles that could be blown out at any moment. Yet they were willing to sacrifice themselves to protect others. Seeing Deus, Jack knew the child was safe at last. He closed his eyes and lost consciousness. After an unknown amount of time, Jack jolted awake in bed. He realized he was back at his residence. Just as he wondered why he was still alive, he was stunned to find his shattered limbs fully restored. At that moment, Deus's voice came from downstairs. Sometime during the night, a pile of equipment had accumulated at Deus's feet. Jack was about to ask questions, but Deus simply smiled at him and urged him to get up and get to work. Jack didn't know what had happened afterward, but whenever he saw Deus's face, all his doubts faded away. And just as expected, Jack continued playing the role of a hero. Poor Ares, always the one charging on the front line. Meanwhile, their demon king, Deus, stayed true to form, sleeping wherever he went. Every time they brought down a dragon, it would somehow disappear. By the next morning, a massive pile of gear would show up at their place. Over time, their teamwork grew smoother and smoother. The nickname Dragon-Slaying Underwear Hero spread across the entire continent. People cheered, claiming it was a hero sent by God who had saved them. As Deus's stockpile of weapons kept growing, he drew ever closer to his dream. And today marked the grand opening of the Demon Weapons shop. Jack, an F-rank hero, was over the moon. It was the first time in his life he'd seen so many weapons and pieces of equipment. He looked completely out of his depth. With a smile, Deus said, "You did a great job this time. From here on out, the shop is yours." Everyone couldn't help asking, "What about you?" Deus spread his hands. "Have you ever seen the boss work the floor himself?" Then he pulled them both in with a not-so-friendly grin. "Any objections?" Under that pressure, the two could only nod helplessly. Deus then turned to Ares. "Go fetch something for me." Moments later, a shield was placed squarely in front of them. The shield was forged from dragon scales and rare gemstones, crafted by Hermes, the finest blacksmith in the demon realm. Its defense was strong enough to block 3 or 4 direct attacks from a demon king. Hearing that, Jack was stunned. The next second, Deus casually tossed the shield to him. The moment Jack caught it, his entire body felt like it had stepped into a different world. A massive eyeball suddenly appeared. A voice echoed in his mind. "My name is Doom Knight. From today onward, you are my master." A flash of light followed. Jack's consciousness snapped back to reality. He was still dazed when Deus waved a hand, signaling him to get ready. The very next moment, Deus hurled a fireball straight at Jack. Jack instinctively raised the shield to block it. The impact still sent him flying, blasting the newly renovated weapon shop into ruins. What kind of boss blows up his own shop on opening day? Ares went ballistic, while Deus could only awkwardly explain that it was an accident. At that moment, Jack crawled out of the rubble, eyes shining. "Master, I'm really fine. Even an S-rank dragon slayer would envy this shield." Deus looked unimpressed. After all, he'd only used 1% of his power. "If you're this weak, you might as well keep it. I'll give you more gear later." Jack burst into tears. He had never imagined he'd one day wield equipment this powerful. He hugged the shield tightly to his chest. The sight left Deus puzzled. He couldn't understand why Jack was crying. Human emotions were truly complicated. Scene shift. In the kingdom Deus had destroyed, a band of raiders had taken over the castle. The abandoned princess had been reduced to a toy for their amusement. Just as they were enjoying themselves, a cloaked figure casually walked into the hall. He glanced around the crowd, left and right, treating everyone else as if they didn't even exist. He muttered to himself, "From the castle gates all the way here, alone." No signs of a fight at all. The strange behavior enraged the bandit leader. He barked, "Who the hell are you?" The man pulled back his hood, revealing vivid green hair, his expression still indifferent. "Go on, don't mind me." With that, he leapt lightly and landed beside the throne. He continued murmuring, "One strike, enough to punch through several mountains." Can a human really do that? Startled by the sudden move, the leader shouted, "What are you waiting for? Throw this bastard out." The underlings rushed him all at once. The green-haired man turned and warned them calmly, "Don't do this." You may be cockroaches, but your lives still have value, don't they?" The words only made them angrier, and they charged at him like madmen. With a sigh, the green-haired man raised a single finger. In the next instant, blood sprayed and limbs flew. Every attacker lost a leg. The leader panicked. "W, what do you want?" The man replied coolly, "Those above suspect something happened here that shouldn't have. I'm here to investigate. Cooperate." Hearing that he was sent from above, the leader went pale. That meant the Holy Imperium, the gods' representatives. The green-haired man pressed on. What happened that day? Someone destroyed the entire castle in an instant. That doesn't just vanish without a trace. Where did that person go? Under the crushing pressure radiating from him, the leader trembled and shook his head, saying he didn't know, only that the town's merchants had been calling that person White Hair. They said that morning he walked into the castle alone. Then a massive explosion followed. No one knew the cause, because anyone who knew the truth was already dead. After hearing this, the green-haired man fell silent in thought. A long moment later, he finally said, "Thank you for the information. I wish you good luck." As he turned to leave, the leader suddenly screamed in a frenzy, "White Hair is the true savior of this world. You have no idea how monstrous this kingdom's tyranny had become. Every brick of this castle was built on the blood and bones of commoners. White Hair was sent by the gods to oppose the evil king. He gave us back the castle that should have been ours, far better than those nobles who only know how to squeeze the people dry." The green-haired man stopped. He looked back coldly. Nice speech. But whether he's a messenger of God is for the Holy Imperium to decide. He snapped his fingers softly. In the next instant, the leader's head fell from his body. Elsewhere, after rescuing yet another dragon, Deus and his group finally paused. Deus felt uneasy. So many members of the Dragonkin had been infected by parasites. This was catastrophic. As the dragon god, shouldn't he be able to resolve it quickly by acting himself? Why entrust it to someone else? Maybe he wants to enter this world through a human body, Ares suggested. The explanation still didn't fully convince Deus. Ares wasn't certain either, but he believed it had everything to do with the dimensional archive. Memories and testimonies could easily be altered by magic, but records stored in the dimensional archive could not. That made it a key piece of evidence in judging even the gods. The dragon god's inability to act in the human realm was likely due to his fear of being recorded there. In other words, his presence here was a secret that couldn't be spoken aloud. Talking as they walked, Deus and Ares eventually returned to the carriage. By then, Jack had collapsed on the ground from exhaustion. Even so, he carefully wrapped up the shield and set aside. Deus didn't understand it, but Ares explained that the shield meant a great deal to Jack. Jack had even said that once he became a hero, he planned to pass it down to his younger siblings. Deus still couldn't quite grasp that kind of sentiment, but he told Ares to relay a message. Jack didn't need to be so cautious. He'd buy another shield for the siblings later. With that, Deus had Ares lift Jack onto the carriage. On the way back, Ares asked whether Jack's hands and legs would really be okay. Deus told him not to worry. He wasn't particularly confident in Demon Realm doctors either, but this time, the treatment seemed to have gone well enough. And deep down, he believed Jack could one day become a remarkable hero. Ares frowned and warned him not to say something so ominous. If that ever happened, the two of them would be forced to fight each other in 20 years. Deus disagreed. If Jack truly became a hero, everyone would see Deus as the hero's closest ally. Ares' next words shattered that idea completely. That can't happen. Jack isn't a first generation. By this world's rules, humans produce the next generation roughly every 20+ years. That makes the 5th generation exactly 100 years, the same year a demon king is born. So someone like Jack, a 4th generation, can never become a hero. Deus let out a cold laugh. If that was the law of this world, then it was a complete joke. Ares then asked him seriously why he didn't want to become the demon king in the first place. Deus turned his head away. I'm not telling you. Truth be told, he didn't fully understand it himself. Just as he was lost in thought, a violent explosion echoed overhead. A massive dragon was attacking a human airship. when they saw the emblem on the hull. Even Ares was shocked. It belonged to a family that had produced nearly 100 ultimate heroes, with the purest bloodline among all pure-blood clans. That instantly caught Deus's interest. Since they'd already run into it, he decided to investigate what was really going on. At the crash site, a massive object wrapped in white cloth was being dragged forward by a group of people. The fat man leading them barked at his subordinates to be careful, damage it, and they'd lose their heads. Before his words had even settled, the dragon that had attacked earlier launched another assault. The fat man hurriedly ordered a counterattack. In an instant, a storm of magic spells flooded toward the dragon. The dragon dodged every attack with ease. Then it answered with a blast of dragon breath. Just as it twisted its massive body, preparing another strike, a figure suddenly appeared. The man leapt upward, stepping off the fat man's head as a springboard, with nothing more than a casual blow. The dragon's enormous body collapsed into a pool of blood. That man was the family's knight, Valius. Clean my sword. Clear the battlefield. Leave no trace behind. If anyone finds out, my father will kill me. Without another glance, he turned to leave. At that moment, Deus spoke calmly. Is this what you're looking for? He slowly tore open the cloth, revealing a massive dragon eye. Deus frowned. Judging from it, there were no signs of parasitic infection at all. Realization struck him. No wonder that hatchling wouldn't stop chasing you. This was its mother. Aren't humans and dragonkin in a ceasefire right now? As members of a hero family, what exactly are you plotting? Their presence immediately caught Valius's attention. Ares whispered, "Why provoke him on purpose?" Deus chuckled. "Aren't you curious what kind of power a pure-blood family really has?" Valius didn't even bother to look at them. He casually ordered the fat man to deal with them and kept walking. Receiving the command, the fat man sneered. "I don't know who you are, but you saw something you shouldn't have. Leave your lives here." Being ignored by trash like this again and again pushed Deus over the edge. He ordered Ares to wipe them all out. But Ares hesitated. Aren't we supposed to be playing the hero's allies? Wouldn't attacking a pure-blood family look strange? Deus thought it over. He had a point, but swallowing this anger was another matter entirely. The two immediately broke into a heated argument. Seeing they still weren't taking him seriously, the fat man snapped and ordered his men to attack. A storm of magic came crashing down on them from all directions. In the very next second, Deus and Ares had already appeared behind the crowd, leaving everyone staring in disbelief. Yet their argument still wasn't over. "They're already attacking us," Deus snapped. "Aren't you going to deal with it?" Ares shot back. Killing them would be easy. But would that really be okay? Deus grew impatient. "Then go beg them to spare us." Ares shook his head. "It's probably too late. We uncover their secret. They won't let us walk away alive." Watching them argue as if no one else existed, the fat man lost his temper completely. With a furious shout, he ordered all his men to attack at once. Surrounded on all sides, Ares let out a helpless sigh. "I didn't want to get tangled up with a pure-blood family, but it seems we don't have a choice." With that thought, he unleashed demon breath. A thunderous explosion followed, and the soldiers charging in front were reduced to ash. The remaining men, however, charged forward without fear. A crimson glow flashed in Ares' eyes. In the next instant, flesh flew and bodies piled up. Just then, a reckless grunt tried to launch a sneak attack. Ares calmly sidestepped the incoming blade. With a flick of his finger, the blood on his hand hardened into a razor-sharp edge, instantly killing the attacker. As expected, he murmured, "Hunting humans really is the greatest pleasure." The fat man at the front was already drenched in cold sweat. At that moment, Valius once again leapt upward, stepping on the man's head as a foothold. A sword strike descended from the heavens, cleaving straight toward them. The ground where Ares stood was pulverized in an instant. Yet the attack failed to harm him at all. Valius's expression hardened. "Who are you people? Dodging my strike so easily. Don't tell me you're from another pure-blood family? Use your head," Deus scoffed. "Do you really think every powerful person comes from a pure-blood family?" Publicly mocked, Valius's killing intent surged. "Then what? Are you dragons? It doesn't matter anymore. Every witness dies. Deus gave a cold laugh. Kill me? That's impossible. Before he could finish speaking, Valias froze at the sight of the smile on Deus's face. Something deep inside him was violently stirred. A blinding light burst from his body. His power multiplied several times over in an instant. The sight left Deus momentarily confused. He almost thought Valias was putting on a show, but Ares looked genuinely shocked. Just as he was about to warn him, Valias vanished and reappeared right in front of Deus. Their eyes met, and Deus immediately sensed the difference. That murderous intent felt carved straight into Valias's bones. A single sword swing reduced everything within dozens of feet to dust. Even so, it was still too slow. Hurting Deus was out of the question. Deus mocked him again. You should speed it up. I'm about to fall asleep. At that moment, Ares' voice sounded weak beside him. Master, shouldn't we leave now? Deus looked puzzled. Things are just getting interesting. Why do you keep trying to ruin my fun? Or are you scared? Ares answered awkwardly. To be honest, yeah, I am. His right arm was already gone, the severed limb glowing with blinding light. That finally made even Deus pause in surprise. And in the next heartbeat, Valias charged at him once more.